Dear students, welcome to another class of entrepreneurship. We already had two classes previously studying survey. In this class also we will continue with the same topic. The topic for today's class is advantages and disadvantages of using surveys. Dear students, the lesson objective for today's class is at the end of this class you should be able to number 1 explain the advantages and disadvantages of using surveys. Number 2 prepare a survey questionnaire. So students, in this class today we will be learning two things. First thing is we will be studying the advantages and disadvantages of using surveys, and in the second half of the class I have prepared a sample questionnaire for you, a sample survey questionnaire, and we all will study that questionnaire and try to find out what questions normally we ask in a survey, so that in future whenever you do any survey or any market research related work, you will be able to frame your own questions correctly. So students, before proceeding further, I will request you to kindly take out your entrepreneurship textbook, refer to the second unit. The topic is 2.65, that is advantages of using surveys. Dear students, in our previous class we had studied the reasons for which a survey is conducted. We found that there are basically three reasons for which a survey is done. The first reason was to create a new policy. That is, suppose you want to make a new policy and you need the opinion of other people. So in that case you do a survey to get their opinion. The second reason was to check the effectiveness of a program. That is, suppose you are running any program, you want to check if the program is successful or not, you do a survey among the people who are taking part in the program. The best example is NESE online class survey. And the last one was to do market research. Suppose you are researching on any particular topic and you want to get more information on the topic from people around you, and in that case you do a survey. So from these 3 points we are pretty much clear that survey is definitely helping us. That is, survey has some advantages. They help us in executing these 3 tasks. Apart from that also, surveys have some unique advantages. The first advantage here is surveys allow researchers to collect a large amount of data in a relatively short period of time. I will explain this to you by giving an example. Take the case of NESE online survey. So how long that survey took to complete? So we shared the survey link with you guys, and in NESE we have around 40-41 students, and within a single day the entire survey was complete. Now imagine a scenario, maybe 1 year down the line. Suppose NESE has 1,000 students. Suppose we want to do another survey, the same process can be followed. We will just create a survey link online, we'll share with the students through WhatsApp. Students will fill the survey and it is done. That is, it doesn't matter if there are 40 students, 1,000 students, 5,000 students, or maybe 20,000 students in NESE. So the survey can be completed in a single day. That just we need to share the link with the students. So the surveys are allowing you to collect data of like 20,000 students in a single day. Imagine there is no option of survey and you had to collect information from 20,000 students. So imagine how tedious that job is going to be. If you are going personally to meet each and every student, get the information from him, that is going to take a lot of time. Maybe it will take around 1 month or maybe even more to meet 20,000 students. So survey is helping us in reducing the time to conduct or to collect the information. The next important advantage of surveys are less expensive than many other data collection techniques like face-to-face interview, meeting, etc. Now whenever you are doing any task or when you are doing any work in any organization, you should always consider the cost factor. That is, how much money it is going to cost us. So now normally organizations try to do things, so the objective in an organization is like you should get maximum out of a thing with minimum investment. So that kind of scenario is ideal for any business, wherein investment is minimum but output is maximum. So similarly in a survey also, The investment is not much. Investment is not much in a sense. The monetary investment, that is the amount of money needed to conduct the survey, is less compared to other forms of data collection. That is, imagine in NESC, now we did this NESC online survey wherein you fill the information and then we gave the information to us. So not much cost was involved. Imagine that we did not conduct this exercise using survey, and rather we went for personal face-to-face meeting. So suppose every faculty from NESC is going to your place. So some of you students are in different districts, like some of you are in Lakhimpur, some of you are in Majuli, some of you are in Kamrup rural areas maybe. Some of your students are suppose in the mass, or some students of NESC are from Meghalaya, some are from Nagaland. So imagine if we had to send people for face-to-face interview to collect this information. So there will be traveling cost. Faculty traveling from Guwahati to Nagaland to Majuli, again coming back and all, staying there. So there will be a cost involved. But if you go for face-to-face interview or meeting, but this cost can be minimized or rather avoided by conducting a survey, as everything was done online and there was no cost involved. The only cost involved here was maybe the time wherein the people had to prepare the questionnaire, and then the data which was needed, the data and the internet services which were needed to execute the task. The next advantage of using a survey is surveys can be created quickly and administered easily. So students, Google is already providing an option to create surveys. This is something known as Google Forms. The same form was used by you all when you had filled your responses to NESC online class survey. So I will teach you this tool. I will teach you how these survey forms are created once you are back in college. So we can go to our computer lab and I will show you how to create survey forms in Google. So this is very simple process actually. You can just fill in your questions and then you can share the survey link with the respondents. The survey links can be shared by using WhatsApp, email, and then you can fill your information, and this data is automatically collected by the stored at the surveyor's end. So it is very simple process. You just create the questions, share the link, the people will respond, the data is collected, you can download the data in the form in Excel sheet, and then you can do the analysis. And in Google Form, the best part is this data, and some certain part of the analysis is already done by the system. I mean, the graphs, the pie charts and all, they already create and give you. So analysis also is very simple. So students, if this thing was not done by using an online survey platform, or imagine we had done the NESC online survey by using face-to-face interview, so it would have been a very complex process. I mean, a person would have gone to your place, he would have asked you specific set of questions, whatever responses you gave, you would have noted down in a particular paper. Otherwise, he would have recorded the entire conversation, and then the person would have come back. He might see the conversation which he had with you. The video he will see, and then he will analyze the video. He will collect the important information from the video. Then the analysis will be done. So this is a very complex and time-consuming process. Imagine this process. Imagine if the same process has to be done for like 1,000 students. Now presently we have like 40-41 students in NESC. Conducting video like face-to-face meeting with 40-41 students is tough, and imagine if the number of students are more, maybe 500 students or 1,000 students, then this process is practically impossible. Practically impossible in a sense, if we will need to have a lot of manpower to conduct this exercise. However, if we conduct surveys in the form of online surveys or even offline surveys, this process will be very simple, because respondents will just feed the information, will give their responses, the surveyor will collect the data and do the analysis. The next advantage of using a survey is surveys can be used to collect information on a wide range of things, including personal facts, attitudes, past behavior, opinions. So we had already seen like what questions can be asked in a survey. So in a survey you can get whatever information you want from the respondent. Look at the survey which we did for NESC online class. We got your personal information, that is, we got your name, we got your parents' name, Then we got what department you studied, we had asked you, then we had asked your opinion about different things. So a survey is a complete package. So whatever information the surveyor wants to have, he can put that question in the survey and he can get the information. So it is a very simple process, but it is covering an entire range of things. That is, it is giving you all the information you want. So students, these are the 4 advantages of conducting surveys. Now we will study the disadvantages of conducting a survey. Dear students, survey also has certain disadvantages or shortfalls. Now, survey disadvantages can be very much attributed to the way the survey is conducted. So the first thing first disadvantage of a survey is poor survey construction and administration can undermine otherwise well designed studies. Now what it means here is, you might have a very clear goal in your mind that you want this information from the people, and for this you are doing this survey. But if you are not framing the questions properly, then there is possibility that you will not get the desired response or desired output. We had already studied before, like what factors should we consider while creating survey questions, and then what are the issues do you face while creating a survey. So it is very important to frame your questions correctly. More important to say, the question should be accurate. What response you want or what topics you want to target, the exact question or proper question is very important. So if the questions are not in a proper form or not in proper sequence, or if the questions don't mean what you actually want to ask, then there is possibility that the responses will be not accurate. And again, suppose even if the responses questions are very fine and the responses given are also correct, but if the analysis part is weak, that is, once you get the information from the respondents, if you are unable to do the proper analysis, then also you will not get the desired output. Now the next disadvantage of a survey is the answer choices provided on a survey may not be an accurate reflection of how the participants truly feel. Now whenever you are asking any question to a respondent in a survey, there may be a scenario wherein the responses or the answer choices given to the respondent may not be sufficient. Suppose I ask a question, what do you like for breakfast? And you give 3 options: puri sabji, idli dosa, and then cornflakes. Now the respondent has to select any one of these 3. But the problem here is, the respondent doesn't like any of these. He likes to have chapati and sabji. Now what he will do? So here, just because he doesn't have the option with him, he will just write something randomly, or maybe he will select the option which is next popular or next liked by him. Suppose his first choice is maybe chapati sabji, but as this option is not there, so he may go for cornflakes. So in that case, if you are not giving the response is not correct, because the respondent wants to say you something else, but as the option is not there, he is giving you some other answer. So in this case, the survey may not be very accurate or efficient. And the last disadvantage of conducting a survey is, while random sampling is generally used to select participants, response rates can bias the results of a survey. Now this is very important point and you need to understand it. Now while conducting a survey on the people, while conducting a survey, you should make sure that it is random. That is, you should not do the survey only in a particular locality or in a particular area. Suppose you want to check the popularity of football in Guwahati. I would rather say you want to see the survey is like you want to check how popular is football among the people in Assam. Now there are some areas in Assam maybe football is very popular. In Kokrajhar football is very popular. Okay. Then mostly BTD areas football is very popular. Then in the tea garden areas also, if you see, football is very popular among the people. Then again, maybe there are some districts in Assam where football may not be very popular. Now while conducting the survey, you should make sure that you are asking people from all these areas. Then only you will be able to get the correct result. Suppose You want to check popularity of football in Assam, but you are doing the survey only in Guwahati and you are not going outside of Guwahati. So whatever information you are getting is from the people in Guwahati only. But there are some other regions in Assam like Kokrajhar and BTAD areas where football is immensely popular. But as you did not go there, so you did not find the exact response. People of Guwahati may not like football too much and they just say we don't like. They might have said we don't like. But in reality, if you go to Kokrajhar or some T-tribe areas where football is very popular, your survey or results would have been different. So it is very important to make sure that you are asking the correct people and you are asking random people. It should not be like only one group of people. Now suppose I will give you another example. You are doing a survey to check how successful is the leadership of Prime Minister Modi. Okay, now while doing this survey, you should make sure that you are asking people from different people having different political preferences. It should not be like if you ask people who are already inclined towards Bharatiya Janata Party or BJP, they will automatically say that Modi ji's performance is awesome. But if you go to people who are inclined, whose political inclination is towards some other party, maybe Congress or Aam Aadmi, so they might see that Modi ji's performance is not good and then they will give some other reasons why. So while doing a survey of this kind, you should make sure that you are selecting your samples, that is you are selecting your respondents randomly and you are covering every aspect or every strata of the society. Otherwise your responses may be biased. So students, these are the 3 disadvantages of conducting a survey. Dear students, now let's come to the second part of our class today. In this part, what I have done is I have prepared a survey questionnaire and I have selected a very popular topic for the survey. So that is TikTok. I think all of you are aware of TikTok and many of you might have accounts on TikTok. I have seen mostly young boys and girls like to have accounts on TikTok wherein they follow different people and also they show their creativity by doing different videos. So I personally don't have a TikTok account, but my wife does have one and I have also featured in few videos made by her in TikTok. So the task here or the objective here is we want to conduct a survey to see the popularity of TikTok. So now let us see what questions we can ask to the respondents while we are trying to find out how popular TikTok is. Dear students, in my questionnaire, the first question which I have put is, have you heard of TikTok? And the options which I have given is yes and no. Now this is kind of a screening question. That is, with this question we will come to know if the respondent will be able to give correct responses or not, or if the respondent's responses will be accurate or not. A person who has heard of TikTok will only be able to give the correct responses when we are asking about TikTok. So about a person who has never heard of TikTok or never seen TikTok, there is possibility that he may not be able to answer the questions correctly. Then the next question which I have asked is, what comes to your mind when you hear of TikTok? And the options which I have given is Chinese company, platform to create videos, time pass medium, none of these. So with this I am trying to find out how important is TikTok for him and now how he relates TikTok to his to any other thing in the world. I mean, is he like aware of TikTok and then how he relates, or what is his first thought about TikTok? The third question which I have put is, do you use TikTok? So again the options are yes and no. So with this we'll come to know if the person only just knows about TikTok, and he also will come to know if the person even knows about the functions or features of TikTok. The next question which I have put here is, what feature of TikTok you use the most? The options which I have given is post your own videos, follow others. So with this we are trying to find out or trying to judge like why the person uses TikTok. Is he using it for showing his own creativity, or he is using it just as a time pass medium wherein he is watching people do different? different tasks or different things. Now, next question I am asking is rate how much you like TikTok. So I am trying to find out if he likes TikTok or not. So this will be kind of a rating scale wherein 1 will be least, then 5 will be most too. So he has to choose a number between 1 and 5. So if he chooses 1, it's possible that he doesn't like TikTok, and if he chooses 5, so he is like a fan of TikTok. Now the next question which I am asking is very important. Will you use TikTok if it becomes a paid service? So with this question, I'm trying to judge how the person is addicted to TikTok, or like how much the person likes TikTok. So if a person chooses yes, it means that he is too much addicted to TikTok and he cannot live without TikTok. So he's even ready to pay. If TikTok becomes chargeable, he's even ready to pay and use TikTok. Now going further, I'm asking, if the government of India bans TikTok, will you still use it? So I am trying to check like how crazy the person is about TikTok, and is he even take the illegal route to use TikTok if the government bans it? And now if the person says yes, so it means that TikTok is really very popular among the people. So from this we'll come to know like what percentage of people are so addicted to TikTok, and they are even ready to cross the line, that is pay money and go do something illegal and use the TikTok. The next question I am asking is, will you recommend TikTok to others? Now this is also very important, so very helpful for TikTok, because if I like TikTok and I recommend TikTok to 10 people, so it's like marketing kind of thing for TikTok, wherein word of mouth kind of marketing, wherein TikTok doesn't have to do much for promotion. The his followers or users are only promoting TikTok among others. And finally, I will do the data collection part, wherein I will ask the respondents' age, then I'll ask the gender, and then I'll go for the occupation. So we'll come from the age part, we'll come to know like which age group of people normally use TikTok and they are very fond of TikTok. Then gender also will come to know if men like TikTok more or women like TikTok more. And then we will also come to know about the occupation part, that is, do students like TikTok more or use TikTok, or people from the business background they use more, or people from the jobs or service background, or people from the entertainment industry they use TikTok more. So to check the popularity of TikTok, I have prepared this question. Now the important thing here is it is not like that only these questions must be used. If you are doing any survey, suppose you guys are doing a survey on TikTok, you might have different ideas, or you might have different questions in your mind. So you can put those questions as well. It is not mandatory or hard and fast rule that what I have made is only correct. So it depends on the surveyor what he wants to ask from the respondents, and accordingly he or she can set the questions. Now after I do this questionnaire, I circulate among the respondents. I will get the responses which I will have to feed in an Excel sheet and do the analysis part. So students, with this I am completing our session today. Hope you have understood what I said. I will request you to kindly see this video, also read your textbook, and do ask me your questions or doubts. I will see you again later. Thank you.